Please tell me I am not the only one that has wanted to rage smash a scan tool or laptop when it wasn't working properly. What's going on, everybody? It's Charles. Before me, I have something very cool, very exciting, and let's be honest, like insanely nerdy. So this laptop here is actually a diagnostic laptop with a bunch of Diag software on it, including VCDS, or what we often call VAGCOM. Software written specifically to talk to Volkswagen and Audi and Bentley and Lamborghini and maybe a few other vehicles as well. A tool that I've been using in one form or another since around 2005. Something that works fantastic on the Mark III here, Mark IV, and even on the 2019 Golf R. About a week and a half ago, someone messaged me, he's like, dude, we found some old VW tools abandoned in a barn. Are you interested in them? And of course, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm interested in them. So we worked out a deal and he sent me a whole box of special tools. Some of them are VW tools, some of them aren't. I'll show you those in a little bit. But the crown jewel, the thing I'm most excited about in like the most nerdy VW way, is this guy right here. This is the VAG 1551. This is like one of the original VW scan tools. And I don't know why I'm so excited about this. It doesn't really work on any car I have other than the Mark III, which is why you see the Mark III in the shop today, so I could actually test drive it. But it's just so cool that it works. Now, VCDS works and I love it, and this will always be my go-to. So I'm gonna shut this laptop and actually get it out of the way so we can talk about this guy right here. I'm excited. So way back in the before time, before scan tools were really PC-based, this is what was used. So this worked. I don't know the exact year this came out, and the documentation on it is kind of fuzzy on like exactly the cars that it worked on. If you have a car that's CAN bus, it's not gonna work. The scan tool is actually powered through the vehicle's communication line. So when you plug it in, that's when it powers on. I tried to use it on my R32s, it wouldn't work. I didn't even bother with anything newer. If you have an early Mark IV or an early B5 Passat, say, it probably would work. Works absolutely fantastic on the Mark III. You could even get adapters to work on pre-OBD cars. There's a blink out fault function on it as well, which I actually didn't try. So Corrados, Mark IIIs, B4s, some Audis I assume as well. Super duper cool. Now there's so much I love about this tool. One, it's huge, and that's kind of awesome in a way, kind of not awesome in a way, because sitting in the car with this thing on your lap, probably not ideal. And we have so much more computing power in our phones. I mean, I can run VCDS off my phone pretty well, but this is just so cool. And the thing that I mostly love about it is designed to do nothing else other than talk and function and interact both ways with our vehicle. And really, when you look at like the structuring and the layering of how this scan tool functions, we can look to what is our newer stuff up until really like UDS protocol, and you can see VCDS and VASP-PC and even earlier versions of guided fault finding all actually are driven off of the same way this one functions. If you've ever heard me talking about going through the diagnostic process and going into measure value blocks or output testing, or talking to different control modules using address words, this scan tool does all of that almost exactly the same way as everything, even now, even on brand new UDS protocol stuff. So when we go to address word 01, which is engine control module, that's the same way we do it in this thing. And like for real, I shouldn't be this excited about it, but one, it's like a cool piece of VW history, VW nostalgia, and it works on a car that I have, which is really, really neat. And surprisingly, it's fast. I love that it's fast. It's fast because it's only built to talk to your vehicle. The unfortunate part is you can't play like Minesweeper or Solitaire while you're waiting for things to happen, but you don't need to really wait that long for things to happen. Now, there is a huge downside, especially if you're not fluent in the VW diagnostic language, and that's you have no information, right? This has a little printer here where you can print out some help, but it doesn't work. Well, it might work, but it doesn't have any paper in it. So maybe I'll see if I can find some paper and actually fire it up, which would be really rad. There's a Oh, there, I hit the print button. There's something that's taped here, but it's all faded off, so we can't read it. So I got the Mark III in, we got the thing hooked up. Let's just punch through, and I'm gonna show you guys some of the stuff that this thing can do. And it's Probably not as exciting as I think it is, but if you are a VW enthusiast or you were a VW technician in the 90s, probably not too much into the 2000s once VAS PC hit the dealerships, this was kind of before my time at the dealer. I started in the dealer in 2004, and I worked at a new dealership, so we didn't have this tool. I did use it at VW Academy, I think once or twice, and also at training a few times. So this is about as basic of a diagnostic interface tool as you can get. Your only interactions with the car are the keypad buttons right here on the right side. You'll notice it's flashing between rapid data transfer and I think it said blink code output. This would probably be pre-OBD2 cars for the blink output. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to 1, which was rapid data transfer. Now, insert address word. If you didn't have the list of all the address words, you would have to just know what you were looking for. Now, even though my dealership never had this exact tool, the address words are going to probably always be the same. If VW ever changes that inconsistency, well, I wouldn't be real happy about that, but there's nothing I can do with it. So for example, 01 is going to be our engine electronics. So we hit 01, it tells us engine electronics. Now we hit Q to go, and then it sends to 01, talking to the module, boom, here's our coding, here's all our goodies on our module. Next, we get to decide what we want to do. Do we want to do a 02 of check DTCs? Do we want to do a 03 of diagnostic output test mode? This would be if, let's say, we wanted to turn our fans on and test to see if they work. 04 is going to be our basic settings. So say we wanted to do our throttle body, we would go there. Now, something different about this versus VCDS or ODIS or any of the newer stuff is you do actually have to put in 3 characters. The newer stuff's smart enough to know that if you put 6D, that you mean 060. For this one, you do actually have to put in all 3 numbers, 060. So this would be our basic setting. For this, we would hit go. This is a Mark III, so we probably actually need 98. So we would need to go 04, Q, we would go 098, Q, and it's running our throttle body adaptation. We would also be able to go in 05, which is our race DTC. 06 is going to be end output, which will take us back out. And 08, which is read measure value block. So this is where we would go to see any information we may want to see on the car. 001, which would be, we can look at coolant temp, and there's a bunch of other stuff. The car's not running right now, otherwise we would have more of this data right here. Now, when we wanted to quit, we couldn't just hit quit. We had to go to 06 to end our output. We can talk to our airbag module. I do know I have an airbag code because I think I had something disconnected and just never cleared the fault. Let's go to 02, check DTC memory, DTC recognized, airbag igniter N95, which is the one in our steering wheel. So now we have checked that code. Good, good. Oh, and battery voltage too low, of course. We can go to 05, which is erase DTCs. Boom, erased. There we go. We can go back in and check it, which is always important to do. No DTC recognized. Now, when we compare the 1551 to something like VCDS, this is superior in a ton of different ways, and just the sheer number of cars that it can talk to. And one of the really cool parts is I can throw it into a screen grab and just record the screen for you guys. But let's walk through that same, I don't know, engine control module thing that we were doing at the start of using our 1551. We would select our control module, very similar to that first rapid data transfer. Look at how slow it is. And we wait, and we wait. Now we get to our list out notice, 01, 02, 03, 15 was airbag. This is all the same numbers that I was punching in before, except I fat fingered this one and hit central locks. This is kind of real time, so it's actually taking longer to do that talk to the ECM because I don't have the key turned on. Why don't I? See, you don't have this problem, Charles, when you use the 1551. There we go. Okay, let's try that again. Remember when I said it's just for talking to cars? So I'm gonna actually switch back to my cable version, not the Wi-Fi version, and see if we can talk to the car that way. This is the most boring video ever, Charles. Just get to it. Cam not ready. Okay, we don't have a CAN bus. Now let's try that for a 1700th time. Back into our VCDS. 01 engine. Hopefully it connects this time. There we go, but you'll notice that's pretty much about the same amount of time that it took for the 1551 to connect. Remember when I was typing in 02 to check our fault codes? There we go, 084 measured value blocks, 09 would have read a single measured value block, 15 for readiness. Our readiness, oh, look at that, it's set, not too bad. Login would be a security access code, but look, VCDS, if we hover our cursor over, it'll allow us to do something to it, which is pretty awesome. We can go into that. Actually, we can go back and go into our basic settings. I typed in 98 to do the throttle body. If I type in 98 here, notice I don't have to put that 0 at the front. We can hit go, and our throttle body beeps and boops and should adapt just fine. So you see the structuring with all of our different functions, 02, 08, 09, 15, 11, 7, and so on, are exactly the same as it was on the 1551. Our address words here, 01, 02, 03, are exactly the same. It's all structured the same, and I will at least give VW credit for that. Now, of course, we have way more capability on a laptop like this to do really cool things like graph. If we back out of the VCDS, have things like picoscopes and everything like that we can do that no way the 1551 could ever do. So awesome stuff. You know, VCDS, of course, and ODIS for the newer stuff will always be my go-to because it's just easier to use. Lugging around this giant thing is kind of a hassle. There's actually a special cart and all kinds of crazy attachments that could have went with this, but this laptop just does so much more that it's worth grabbing that over that. This really will probably not get used all that much. There's just, for me, this really cool, you know, it's like people that decorate their shop and their house and their garage with like vintage gas pumps and, you know, signs and tins and cool old oil cans and things like that. That's kind of what this is for me, purely a decoration more than anything. But how cool is it that it was dug up apparently out of a barn and the thing still works? So I am nerdily excited about that. And also, it's pretty cool that the Mark III actually fired up first try after, of course, jump starting it because the battery's been dead for how long, but it drove right in, no problem, so really cool. Quick update, I know a lot of you guys want to know what's going on with the Mark III. I actually found a rear brake setup that I think I'm gonna go with. The problem is it's like 1,200 bucks. So I'm putting some pickles together in order to fund that deal there. Then, you know, we'll kind of go from there. I think it's at the point where I need to decide, do we delete ABS and just rock and roll? Or do we try and figure out this ABS issue? I don't want to spend the money on an ABS module, either repairing it or replacing it. The part's probably not even available anymore anyway, so that may be something I need to research. However, you know, how much effort and money and time do I really want to put into an ABS setup like that? The answer is not a whole lot, so we'll see what happens. Otherwise, she's just chilling. She needs the same amount of love and paint correction that she did when I first got it, including bumpers and whatnot as well. Also, I did get a handful of other tools in this tool order. Some of this stuff I actually have no idea what it was. I think this is like a GM airbag, like mid-70s airbag testing unit, which is really cool. I do know that this is a boost leak tester, which is a factory VW tool, and it works really well. At least I know the tool works well. I don't know specifically about this one. We'll have to get it all cleaned up. We got an oil pressure gauge. This is a radio release tool. This is probably one of the worst radio release tools out there. And a couple of other things that, I'll be honest, I have no idea what they're for, so I'm gonna do some research. If you know what any of that stuff is for, and if you've used it, drop that down in the comments, because any of your help on some of this older stuff especially is much appreciated. With that, I'm out. Have an awesome day, and I'll talk to you again next time. Bye-bye. I have nowhere else to go.